What is up? Good evening. A little technical difficulties, but we are here. Welcome back to another episode of Take Me Down a Rabbit Hole. We are on episode 57. So I've got a pretty interesting topic tonight. I won't hold you too long, but I got to get my shout outs and say hello. How are y'all doing out there? I hope your week went well. I have to say that last week's live was a little spicy. It was a little spicy. It was a lot of blasphemy going around, but and I can't stand too much of that. But what I do hope is that we got a lot of information out. I think hopefully we got a lot of knowledge out. Maybe we dispelled some of the straw men that are always built up, especially about scripture. And so, that's what we're here for. But tonight, I came across some information and I didn't know. I don't know where I've been. Sometimes I'm working and whatever else, but the topic of Gilgamesh's tomb apparently is all the rave right now. And so literally right before I came on live, I was going down a rabbit hole. I was like, oh my goodness, what is really going on here? And so I'm going to try to present to you, hello, salute. I'm going to try to present to you what I have found thus far. And please, as you know, fill me in on some things because, again, I just came across this information. Unfortunately, I have to go through Google Chrome right now. Y'all know I hate that because they dip and dab and put trackers and stuff on you like that. But I wanted to be able to share my screen. And I realized that for whatever reason, DuckDuckGo I've got a lot of, blockers on there right now. So anyways, let me play you this clip real quick. It is another piece of Hillary's deposition, but I want you to hear about what they ask her. Okay. I want you to hear about what they ask her. Let me make sure my volume is up.
Okay, and on the topic of transparency, Secretary, were you ever denied access or did you ever inquire on the topic of UAP or Gilgamesh in your official or personal capacity and why?
I was never denied access because I never asked for access.
Okay. In the efforts of having a transparent government and restoring faith within our country, do you believe that the American people deserve access to those topics?
I do. Subject to any national security implications, I think the information should be made available. I think that's been ordered, or at least I read that it had been ordered.
While I have you here, I just have to ask. So when your husband was president, it was Lawrence Rockefeller had an effort to try to disclose UFOs, UAPs. When you were running for president, John Podesta publicly stated that you would disclose these files if given the chance, if you had been president. Are you pleased to see that these files may be disclosed finally?
I am pleased. As I say, I think they have to be carefully scrutinized so that no national security information is disclosed. But this is an issue of real importance to so many people. And I think whatever can be disclosed should be disclosed.
Was there a program that specifically that was referencing that you were aware of?
I was not. As you mentioned, John Podesta, who was one of my advisors, was deeply interested in the issue. And if I had been elected, I certainly would have listened to his advice.
Well, thank you for indulgence on that.
It's a sort of.
Sorry, she's a whole liar. She's a whole liar. And I want you to be very, very, I want you to listen to when she says pretty much what can be disclosed will be disclosed. But if you know how the government does it, they make sure that if they find something out, they make sure that they put all kinds of disclosures on it, treaties on it, so that you cannot get to the information. So she's right. Whatever can be disclosed will be disclosed, but they forget to tell you that they already blocked off particular information. so that you can never, ever find it out. So here's what's going on with this. Okay. She asked her about Gilgamesh. Now, if you are unfamiliar with who or what Gilgamesh is, I made 2 deep dives on it. It's called don't quote me on my own videos, y'all, but is the Bible a copy of the Enuma Elish? I gave you part 1 and I gave you part 2. But long story short, Gilgamesh is supposedly Nimrod from the Bible. Okay. And if you are familiar with the story of Nimrod from the Bible, he is the man that built Babylon. Babylon is what this whole shebang is built off of. Everything that they're trying to imitate, everything they're trying to mimic, even with the Tower of Americas and different things like that, they try to build it like the Tower of Babel. Now, what happened with the Tower of Babel is that these men, these mighty men on the earth, were trying to build a monument so high that it reached the heavens. So figuratively and literally, they were trying to do this. Now, what it means figuratively is that they were trying to be like gods. They were trying to be so high that they ruled over all of us, right? And so Lord was like, oh, no, no, no. And so he confounded the languages. So at one time we all spoke one language, then he confounded the languages because he said, this is what they do when they conspire together. And as you see, they're now trying to make it to where it's the Goyim and the non-Goyim. And in their world, that just means us against them. So they want us to all, I hate to say it like this, but interbreed together so that we all become one. And then they have them over there. It's a big mess, y'all. But anyways, so Nimrod, again, built Babylon. So now what they're uncovering is that Hillary and her crew, they found out that there was a scientist, an archaeologist, that claimed to have found the tomb of Gilgamesh. Okay. And supposedly in the tomb are all of these secrets, all of these ancient secrets. And if you know what they're trying to do, so again, Gilgamesh, he was trying to get to immortality, which is what they're all trying to do, but they're trying to go a different way. They're trying to, this is what all the mystery schools are about, which started in Babylon. This is what it's all about. They have taught themselves these rituals, but at the end of the day, they're trying to get to immortality. And so Gilgamesh ends up, he's like bathing in the water one day, and he's got, I guess, the tablets or whatever that are supposed to give him the information. And then the serpent steals it from him. And so now, again, they're trying to get back to the serpent to get to the information about immortality. It's just this big, it's always, I tell y'all this all the time, it always goes back to the serpent, right? They think that he has the information and the knowledge about immortality, so they all worship him. Okay, so anyways, where was the tomb of Gilgamesh found, y'all? The tomb of Gilgamesh was found under the Euphrates River. Now, let me show y'all why this is a big deal. Let me hip y'all onto why this is a big deal. So first things first, in the book of Jeremiah, in chapter 50, it goes on for a few chapters, but in chapter 51, the Lord is pretty much telling the prophet, about how Babylon will be judged because of their sins against Israel. Now, Israel is always, and we're not talking about the Israel that they're talking about today. Okay, we're talking about God's people, Israel, the 12 tribes, all that good stuff. He tells them that pretty much Babylon is going to be punished, and he tells them how it's going to be punished. But at the end of this chapter, this is what Jeremiah says. This is Jeremiah 51:61. It says, and Jeremiah said to Sariah, when thou come to Babylon and shall see and shall read all these words. Because again, you know, the Lord tells you, like when he has been having his prophets and his people go and follow him throughout these years, he tells them to put it in a book for a memorial. So this is another book that they're talking about. So Jeremiah wrote in a book all the evil that should come upon Babylon, even all these words that are written against Babylon. And Jeremiah said to Sariah, when thou come to Babylon and shalt see and shall read all these words, then shalt thou say, O Lord, thou hast spoken against this place to cut it off, that none shall remain in it, neither man nor beast, but that it shall be desolate forever. And it shall be, when thou hast made an end of reading this book, that thou shalt bind and stone to it and cast it into the midst of the Euphrates. And thou shalt say, thus shall Babylon sink and shall not rise from evil that I will bring upon her, and they shall be weary. Thus far are the words of Jeremiah. So first things first, the prophecy and all of the evils that are going to come upon Babylon are written in a book, and it was thrown into the Euphrates River. So yeah, there are artifacts down there. There are some secrets down there, but there's also that book down there. Now, of course, it's watered down and withered away, but you know, these people are crazy. Okay. But this is what's more. In the book of Revelation, there's two books that are very, very important to this. Okay. In the book of Revelation, chapter 9, when the sixth trumpet is sounded, okay, y'all know I got to read because people be like, yeah, just picked out you didn't read the context. Okay. So when the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay a third part of the men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. Okay. Listen, if y'all know, these people, because they are getting ready for the day of Armageddon, which is God's people versus Satan's people. They're going to all come to this big war. They have been trying to uncover all of these so-called fallen angels and these so-called creatures that are supposedly buried in Antarctica, frozen. They're trying to wake the Leviathan, which is under the water. They're trying to bring up all of the wicked beast, pretty much, to help them kill us off, essentially. Okay. These angels are bound in the same Euphrates River where the supposed tomb of Gilgamesh is set. Okay. But that ain't all. When the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And then it goes into Armageddon. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and all of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his name. And he gathered them together into the place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. So what they're talking about is UFOs, right? They're like, oh yeah, she's over there trying to find the UFOs and all this other stuff. I honestly think this is what they're going after. I think they're going after the prophecies that are written about them And I think that they are trying to do what they can to loose the angels that are down there so that they can get ready for this battle. I think it's very, very strange that this is what's being talked about in these Epstein depositions. And this is who they're asking, because she's acting, excuse me, y'all. She's acting like she didn't ask about Gilgamesh and all this other stuff, but they're written in the emails. Like, she keeps forgetting that all of the mess that she's into and all the mess that her little crummies are into, they wrote it down in the emails. And we're just reading them. Just like she lied, like I talked about last week, she lied about not knowing what was going on with the whole insurance file when she's on the doggone file, when the file is all about her. And she's like, oh, well, you know what? If it doesn't, you know, mess up national security, you guys. What you mean to say is, if it doesn't uncover what you guys have done to this nation and to other nations and to these people, your crimes against humanity, then you'll let us know. It's pretty much what she's saying. Now, another thing about Nimrod is that they believe him to be one of the Anunnaki. Okay. And so I don't know if you guys have ever watched that they called it, what did they call it? Ancient Astronauts or something like that. It was on, I believe, the History Channel. Ancient Aliens or something along that line. Did y'all ever see that series? So it's just a lot. These Anunnaki, not only do they believe that they came to Earth, but they also believe that they have stars in the sky, that they come from different constellations and they come from different planets. See, this is all about astrology and Saturn worship and all that kind of stuff. Because I want to say that they think that they also call him Marduk. I think that they think Marduk comes from Saturn, if I'm not mistaken. One of the things. But anyways, this is all that this is about. The same mighty men that we talked about last week, who were the mighty men of renown, these are the same people. These are the same people. And not only does the Bible say that, you know, Babylon is going to go down, but it also makes mention of the pharaohs. Now, the connection with the pharaohs is that these elites think that they are descendants of the pharaohs. And the pharaohs are who they believe to be the link between them and the gods. So when we talk about Rome and all that kind of stuff, remember, Rome was around before 1 AD. I know people try to make it seem as though, oh, Rome created Christianity. No, they did not. The Romans believed that they were descendants from the pharaohs. That's why they feel like they have all this power. To them, the pharaohs were gods. They believe that they were mixed with gods and that they are the lineage of them. And so, again, these gods were the ones that were putting forth all this witchcraft. Remember, you had the pharaoh that was going to the water every day, worshiping the water spirits, and Dagon, who was the fish god, half human, half fish. Yeah, I think it was called Ancient Aliens. Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah. And what's crazy is that there was one guy by the name of Hitchinson. I cannot think of his first name, Zachariah Hitchens. He is a big creator of a lot of those series. But those of you who are on the Patreon, y'all know I told y'all years ago how Arizona Wilder called him out and said he's one of the shapeshifters. He's actually one of these so-called reptilians. He's pretty much there as a, like, he's telling you about them, but then he's also down with them. Said that she's seen him at rituals, just like she's seen the queen at rituals. She said they can't even wear clothes. When they're wearing their robes to go to these rituals and to sit on their little thrones and drink blood out of their chalices, she said they can't even wear clothes because they end up shape shifting and burst out of the clothes. But this Zachariah Hitchens, he's got a lot of books on this stuff, but he was one of the main ones. They're all in this together. And while we're talking about Hillary, she said she was at the rituals too. This is before she even came on the stage as far as the politics were concerned. This is before people even knew who she was. She was at those rituals. This is a big game. This is a big game. They got her in these depositions. I'm just upset. They got her in these depositions asking these questions as if she's going to tell the truth. As if she's going to tell the truth. Now, they also claim that they're supposedly trying to see. I think that they're trying to, I don't know which way they're going, because some people say, oh, they're trying to find the stargates and stuff like that. I don't know if this whole Gilgamesh tomb is supposed to be one of those things. I don't know about that. But the river Euphrates, if I'm not mistaken, has been dried up for a while. I think it's been dried up for a while. Or it's drying up in the process of it. Okay, so they're saying that it's drying up. So the river Euphrates is drying up due to a combination of climate change, reduced rainfall, and poor water management practices. Listen, they don't know. This is prophecy. This is supposed to happen. This is supposed to happen. So that's my spiel on the Gilgamesh tomb. Everyone who is going against Israel, and again, not the Israel that we're talking about in the news right now, but God and his people will be under the wrath that Babylon is under. says, and the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, "It is done." And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not seen since men were upon the earth, so mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. And great Babylon came in remembrance before God to give upon her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. The men blasphemed God because the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great. They're still going to be blaspheming. They're still going to be blaspheming, even as the wrath is being poured down upon them. That's why when people try to blame God for stuff, they're like, no, these people were going to blaspheme anyways. This is who they are. They're going to blaspheme anyways. He said, we wouldn't know. They won't give a lot of coverage to the things coming to reality spoke about in the Bible. Satan and his minions' greatest trick was convincing you they don't exist. Exactly. Which is what is crazy, because even in all of this, they are proving that they believe. They're proving that they believe the Bible. That's number one. And they're proving that it's true. Because again, everything that is written is coming to fruition or has. And the people that deny it, like you, I just feel like you haven't read the Bible. You're not reading with the clear lens. You're probably reading out of bitterness or, trying to find something that's false, but you're really not paying attention to what's going on out there. You're really not paying attention. Israel, the secular state, isn't the Israel the Bible speaks of. We live in dangerous times because few recognize this. The history of how Israel became a nation is of man, not of God. Yeah. And again, they write everything down. So if you just read their history, you will see them admit that they created this place. You will see what they're doing. So, and that's what I've come to do, I guess, as I've gotten older, because I'm like, obviously I already believe the Bible because I can see exactly what it says is, and I can look out in the world and see that it is, right? But being older, I just read their stuff. And they're in agreement. They agree with the Bible. Now, the awesome thing about the Enuma Elish is that the Enuma Elish is from the POV of the Anunnaki. This is from their point of view. And so when people say, and this is pretty much what the whole video is about, like if you say, oh, it's a copy of it. No, you've got one book, the Bible, which is from the lens of God and his people, and then the Enuma Elish is from the lens of Nimrod and his people. But if you minus a few facts here and there, they all line up together. They tell you that they worship the serpent. They tell you that they believe he's the bringer of light. They put it in their statues. In their monuments. What's the confusion? They tell you about the mixing of the angels and man. They tell you about this stuff. When they talk about all the idols and the gods and the goddesses and stuff that they worship, they tell you exactly what it is that they did in order to honor these gods and goddesses. And it's exactly what the Bible says y'all was, not y'all, but it's exactly what the Bible said they were doing. Sacrificing and witchcraft and all. It's the same exact thing. They're in agreement. What is the issue? I don't understand it. What's up? What's up? Good evening. Good evening. Occultists know very well there is a God. They have fooled the masses into believing things like science for creation. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And that's what's crazy. That's why I like to talk about science a lot as well, because they always try to tell us, oh, it's either science or it's religion. And that's not true. I can go even from the beginning of Genesis and prove that science is I call it science so-called, because these modern scientists just say and do whatever the heck they want to do. So even they agree with the Bible. Now they won't admit that it's God who did this. They'll say it's something else, but they admit with all the things that came to pass, even to the point of them saying, oh, well, you know how the Bible says it was the invisible things that created the things that we see. They told us the same thing when they talked about atoms. Oh, we can't see the atoms, but they created everything. Okay. So it's just amazing. That's why I love it all. That's why I like to talk about history. I like to talk about science. I like to talk about it all because it all lines up. Thank you, Azim. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Israel was planned before World War I. Major players were already campaigning for it because declarations of war were made. If you look at the money that funded both sides, they speak openly about a before plan. Yeah, they've been doing that. They definitely been doing that. That's why when they have us fighting about, Democrat and Republican, all that kind of stuff, and they go behind closed doors and start sipping tea together, it's all a front. It's all a front. And what that I think it was one of the Rockefellers' moms said that if my sons didn't fund the wars, then there wouldn't be any. And they say this proudly. Like, okay, you're proud that maybe she's not proud, but I don't know. If I was that evil, if my sons were that evil, that might have been something that I would take to the grave. But you're openly boasting, like, yeah, it wouldn't be no wars if my sons didn't create it. Yeah, to establish, Israel as a nation. But they have to. And the crazy thing is, even in the Bible, they've been slaughtering Gaza for a while. So I think this plan has gone back even longer than we may even can imagine. Science has become a religion. Yeah, it really has. And again, there's nothing wrong with science. And that's why the Bible differentiates between science, because remember, Daniel, he was proficient in all science. Science means knowledge. But then the Bible also says that there's science so-called, which means pseudoscience. And notice that they always they never prove anything to us. They always just tell, oh, well, in, millions and millions of years ago, or just like with this old 25-hour day, oh, it'll be 200 million years in the future. None of us are going to be able to prove that. So they can just tell us anything. Or they can tell us, oh, well, however many years in the past there was only a 4 hour days. Like, what sense does that even make? I don't even think the plan. See, y'all get upset because, not y'all. I say y'all, but I'm not talking about y'all. But they get upset with the Bible saying, that the plants and stuff were created before the sun. But then you tell us that there were only 4 hour days. So how were the plants surviving, even with the sun there? I laugh at the claim of billions of years the Earth has been a thing. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I was watching a lot of, and I actually wanted to talk about some of that tonight, but I have to watch a few more. I want to get a complete thought before I bring it. But pretty much that there is a lot more evidence that the Earth is young rather than old. And they've been talking about that for a long time. But of course, those scientists don't get heard. Doesn't matter how many science journals they write, doesn't matter how many peer reviews they go through. They don't get heard. They're definitely not in the forefront. If you want to Google it or whatever, you have to go to multiple pages, in order to find it, because they're going to make sure that they put whatever they believe at the top of the search engine. You say time is false, and yes, science is their witchcraft. Now, what do you mean by time is false? I've never heard that. Because then that would be the same. I mean, then everything would be eternity, right? But then that would make everything God. Because only God is eternal. And in order for things to be made, in order for things to be created, there would have to be something outside of time in order to create it. But yeah, you let me know what you mean by that. Agreed. Ain't nothing wrong with science. Science is foreseen science because you can see the works with your eyes. Spirituality is unseen science because basically you can't see it, but you can feel it. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's why I believe that I'm trying to find that one particular like when the Bible says, the fool says in his heart, there is no God. I think that what that's all about is because a fool is someone who's like deaf and dumb or senseless. I can't talk tonight. Essentially, it means senseless, which means that you're not engaging your eyes, you're not engaging your ears, you're not engaging your sense of smell, your sense of touch. I'm missing one. Hearing, seeing, smelling, touching, tasting. You're not engaging your taste buds. Because just by merely looking around, you should be able to know and understand. And yes, the spiritual things are the unseen. They're the invisible things. They are the, even when you think about words and thought, everything can't be purely physical because then you have to explain where the laws of logic come from. And those things that are invisible. So Recent science has learned more to younger Earth things we thought we definitely knew. Theories that held for long periods of time have been walked back in recent years. Yeah, but I mean, unless you're, again, that they're not things that I hear talking about in mainstream. I think one of the first things that I heard that they were actually saying, you could actually, see it in the news, was about the bone marrow that they were finding in the dinosaur fossils, the warm blood. And they're like, okay, well, if these were old creatures, we shouldn't still be seeing this. And even I think another one was like Halley's Comet, or, just comets in general. If they've been circling and cycling the universe and, going past the sun and stuff, all these so-called billions of years, then these comets shouldn't still be here. Because at some point, that rock is going to disintegrate. But then that's when they came out with the Oort cloud and said, oh, no, there's a cloud in the sky that's continuously developing comets. They always find a way to speak around things. And even with the 24-hour day, what I was realizing, I don't know if you guys have seen my video on heliocentrism and geocentrism, but I brought about the Aries failure. And so they tell us that the Earth is tilted. There's a North Pole and a South Pole. There's an axis, but then it's tilted in order to create the days and the nights and the seasons, right? But in Aries failure, when he was doing his experiment, in order for him to catch the stars in his telescope, have y'all seen it? I don't want to, because it might sound, you might have to watch it in order to understand. But if you're not familiar with Aries failure, Aries was pretty much a heliocentrist. And he had set out to prove that it was the Earth that was moving rather than the stars. So he had set his telescope out one night and was trying to, catch the stars in his telescope, but he noticed that he wasn't able to do it. So what he did was tilt his telescope 10 degrees, and he found out that still wasn't working. So he ended up putting water in his telescope so that it would slow down the starlight into his telescope. And he found out from that particular experiment, and I'm just shortening it. He found out from that experiment that it was actually the starlight that was moving and not the Earth. And so that's why it's called Aries failure, because he set out to prove that it was the Earth that was moving and it wasn't. So, and I just realized, I was like, you know what, that, the whole tilt thing, the reason why they have to say that the Earth is tilted is because it's the starlight that's moving. In the same way that he had to tilt his telescope in order to catch the starlight is the same reason why they have to tilt the Earth. Anyway, I felt like I'm rambling with that, but y'all have to look at the science of these things for real, because there is no scientific experiment that has proven the movement of the Earth. And even when you go and look at CIA documents and the government documents, they even train their pilots. All of their documents say flat, non-rotating Earth. All of them. They even train their pilots on a flat, non-rotating Earth. So, but again, the reason why they have to twist this science all up and down is so that you don't believe in God's word. Period is all they do. One of the most laughable things is carbon dating. Yeah, they claim to be able to date things to millions of years ago, but no one ever talks about the contamination of these samples. They make assumptions off. Yeah, there's a lot of deception with that carbon dating stuff. But again, that's one of those topics where if it were found out, right, they would have to go through all the textbooks and take it out, and they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. They always do a reset to confuse us. Yeah. Good old, what they call it, Mandela effects, all that kind of stuff. He said, Joanna, I agree. It seems like we are steep in the middle of one of the petro-global systems, seems to be intentionally being uprooted, maybe to usher in a new system we will know in time. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's always going to be to usher in a new system. That's why they've been putting all this stuff in front of our face, so that we will accept what's coming about with this new system. He said, oh, yeah, I read the bone marrow stuff that got a lot of ears, then went hush, hush. It sure did go hush, hush. It sure did. It sure did. Tilted flat earth. Yeah. Well, no, well, in their mind, it's a tilted globe earth. But I don't really understand how you would know that a globe is tilted, because it should be the same shape all the way around. So I think in order to get that notion off, they have to put out the notion of the North Pole and the South Pole, which I was reading, and I was going to talk about this today, but I wasn't done looking it up, but maybe we could do it together. So have y'all heard of the Black Rock? And I don't mean like the industry. I mean, it's called, hold on, let me pull it up real quick. It's called, oh, please don't tell me it's not trying to bring it up. I had it pulled up, but I had closed all my windows because I have 50, 11 windows open when I'm doing my researches and stuff. And I closed them. Okay, let me see if it pulls it up. Okay, Rupus Negra, also called Black Rock, which is supposedly a phantom island we believe to be a black rock located at the North Magnetic Pole or at the geographic North Pole. No, not that black rock. So it was described by Gerardus Mercator as a 33 French mile in size. It provided a supposed explanation for why all the compasses point towards this location. Y'all haven't heard of that? Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Oh, no. So y'all can see a picture of it. This Negra. Okay, so this is the so-called Black Rock. Okay, so again, it's supposed to be magnetic, and again, the reason why our compasses point towards this direction. So a fascinating blend of early geography, medieval myth, and Renaissance cartography, imagination, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the origin or the birth of it. So the earliest known mention of the Rupus Negra comes from the mysterious 14th century book. The book is titled Inventio Fortunata, The Discovery of the Fortunate Isles. It was reportedly written by a Franciscan friar from Oxford. This friar traveled to the Arctic regions under royal patronage. Okay, the rock was so high that it could not be seen without great difficulty. This rock was believed to be the source of magnetic attraction, explaining the behavior of compass needles. So anyways, I'll kind of flesh this out a little bit more. Like I said, I wasn't done looking into it. But again, look at these old maps. Okay, while we're on the subject, look at these old maps. This is what they look like. Always on a flat earth. So supposedly this black rock is here in the middle, and then there's a whirlpool that surrounds it. Now I don't know what these continents are. I think that one says pygmy. This looks like Asia over here. Does this say, what does this say? Does that say America? I don't know, y'all. I have to look more into that. I gotta look more into that. But yeah, from there, I was kind of trying to see why they would believe in the whole North Pole, South Pole thing. Because again, how would they know? How would they know on a sphere, on a globe? But anyway, I'll come back to that, y'all. I'm not, my thoughts aren't fleshed out on that yet. The Kabbalah, yeah. Okay, I forgot the name of the Swedish scientist who was writing on the bone marrow stuff, but he had a suspicious downfall. Oh my goodness, he had a heart attack and an autopsy was refused, and he was created within 30 hours of passing. They will do that. Is so crazy. It's so sad, right? It's so sad that you're not allowed to have your own mind and maybe come up with information, research that goes against the mainstream. Because if not, they kill you off. The elites don't want the public to know and understand the occult knowledge because it will destroy their ultimate plans for the human race. An enlightened person is a dangerous person. Yeah, I mean, you would think that they would want, I guess it would depend on what information. Because they definitely want us to know the occult stuff. But not so much that we start taking over them. Yeah, not so much that we start taking over them. I was working on, yeah, I'm not going to read this whole thing because obviously I'm working on a couple of new videos at the same time, but it was pretty much talking about how they made the Force mainstream. Remember the Force from the Star Wars? Well, the Force is actually an old occult term. It's a satanic and occult term. And the Star Wars made it popular. And it talks about the conspiracy. We'll talk about the conspiracy behind that. But yeah, so some things, again, they want us to know it has to be out in the open. They call it an open conspiracy. But that's so that the public will accept that particular practice or ritual as normal because it's something that we're going to be using in the new world. And when I mean new world, I mean the New World Order. He says some of the old maps are interesting. The number 33 is important through all the secret societies and occult groups. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of old maps are really, really interesting. You kind of see what, old lands were called. You can see some of the creatures that they believed in, some of the creatures that lived in certain places. Yeah, just whenever y'all can, just go and look at some old maps from like the 1300s, the 1100s. Let me see if I can. Don't ask me. See, this is why I don't like to be on Google. They be all in my business. I think I just found a really weird one. What is this? Hold on, y'all. I'm about to show you. What is this? This is from 1511. You see the four winds blowing onto the earth. Actually, I think it's more than four winds. I'm sorry, y'all. I think it's more than four winds. I see Asia. This is a weird map. I can't scroll. Anyways, go look at some old maps. They're pretty interesting. You'll see stuff is not what it seems. You'll definitely see stuff is not what it seems. All the occult groups lead back to the Vatican. Yeah. I would say they definitely go through the Vatican. Because again, the Vatican, the ones that are operating there, again, they believe that they are descendants from these pharaohs and these gods and goddesses. But yeah, there's a lot of occult stuff that goes through there. So Star Wars is basically a fight between the good witches and the bad witches. I've seen the first Star Wars, but I was so young. I do not remember anything from that movie. I mean, not a thing. But I believe it. Let's say so-called good witches, because we know none of them are good. Have you ever seen some of the famous maps from the Spanish conquest that show tribes of giants and creatures and where their societies were? Yeah. Yes, I have. And that's what I'm saying. They'll show you different places where, yeah, like you said, the creatures were. They always show you the red dragon in the sea and all kinds of stuff. They'll show you mermaids and sirens in the water, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. Because these, I I think that these people have seen some things. I don't know what exactly. I just don't think they can all be lying about certain stuff. Especially when there's a lot of stories about fiery serpents and different things like that. I'm like, yeah, there's gotta be some truth to that. You said, what I wonder is why we don't see these things today in mass. If only a few hundred years ago it was general knowledge these things existed. That's a good question. I remember years back, I had came across some Africans saying that they still see pterodactyls, and I thought that was crazy. But no, you're right. We don't really hear and see. We don't really hear and see too much. Were they wiped out? Did they exist at all? I mean, there's a lot of questions. But the Library of Alexandria was, I don't know if y'all know about that, but a huge library. And it mysteriously got burned to the ground. And this particular library had manuscripts from all over. And I don't think they even know who did it. I don't even think they know, but it was in Egypt. So just to kind of give you a little background. So the Library of Alexandria in Alexandria, Egypt, was one of the largest, most significant libraries of the ancient world. The library was part of a larger research institution called the Mosion, which was dedicated to the Muses, the 9 goddesses of the arts. The idea of the Universal Library in Alexandria may have been proposed by Demetrius of Phalerum, an exiled Athenian statesman living in Alexandria. Okay. So let me go down some. It is unknown precisely how many scrolls were housed at any given time, but estimates range from 40,000 to 400,000 at its height. Okay, so they said that's equivalent to 100,000 books. So for this reason, they became regarded as the capital of knowledge and learning, in part because of the Great Library. Many important and influential scholars worked at the library during the 3rd and 2nd centuries BC, including Sidonius of Ephesus, who worked for standardizing the works of Homer, Callimachus, Apollonius of Rhodes. Okay, so a lot of different people, right? A lot of different people. The influence of the library declined gradually over the course of several centuries. This decline began with the purging of intellectuals from Alexandria. So first they started getting rid of all the intellectuals in Alexandria. And then it dwindled during the Roman period, of course. They say lack of funding and support. Oh, they said, oh, they're naming who burned it. Okay, I thought they didn't know. So they're claiming that in 48 BC, during Caesar's civil war, Julius Caesar was besieged at Alexandria. His soldiers set fire to some of the Egyptian ships docked in the Alexandrian port while trying to clear the wharfs to block the fleet belonging to Cleopatra's brother Ptolemy the 14th. The 14th. You know what? More and more, I see why they shanked this man. Because I don't know about y'all, but growing up in school, they made it seem like Julius Caesar was this big hero, and then they turned against him and killed him and stuff like that. But then when you start reading the history, you're like, you know what? This man was nothing but foolishness. So anyways, yeah, so I said that to say, I brought this up to say a lot of information was lost at this time, and they do it on purpose. They do it on purpose so that we will not, so that they can change history, so that they can rewrite it. You said, like they say, the truth is stranger than fiction. Yeah. Yep. Definitely learning that. Definitely learning that. I've seen a lot of people make the claim all the weird creatures are underground now. And I hope they stay there, to be honest. I would hate to run into any of these. I know I did the Dogman video the other day on Patreon, but there's a lot of, even with that, a lot of people claim that they've seen it, different states. I even looked, I was like, let me look to see if they've seen it in Texas, claiming they've seen it in Texas, in all kinds of places. I mean, yeah, there's so many things that people say that they see in the dark. And yeah, I don't want to see it. I don't think I want to see those things if they're real. People claiming they see Bigfoot. Yeah. Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster. Remember when that was really big? They were sighting him everywhere. The Greco-Roman Empire burned down the Library of Alexandria. Yeah. Who built the pyramids? I mean, good question. Good question. And I think everybody still wants to know how. But I also don't think that they had, I know people think, oh, they were stupid back then. They didn't have such and such technology, but there are some structures I definitely don't understand. Some structures are way, way too big for me to understand how they were built by just regular people. But I think they had, pulleys and stuff that they could pull up the clay with and mold it. I really don't know. I really don't know. I wish that was one thing that the Bible talked about, to be honest. I don't even think the word pyramid is in the Bible. Nope. Pyramids. Nope. But yeah, good question. I mean, I was always taught in school that the slaves did it. And what did the Pharaoh have the children of, I don't know what he had the children of Israel building with that brick that they were making. I mean, that they were making, children of Israel brick. It never says what they were doing with it. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Speaking of libraries, do a wiki search of libraries burnt down over time. There's hundreds and hundreds on the list. And from the 1800s, early 1900s, the numbers spike. Oh, really? Hold on. Uh-oh. See, they know what they're doing. Let me put this on the screen for y'all. Okay, so obviously we just talked about the Library of Alexandria. The House of Wisdom, in Baghdad was destroyed in 1258 by Mongols. Manuscripts were allegedly thrown into the Tigris River, turning the water black with ink. Oh my goodness. The library of, I don't know how to pronounce that, but it was Nineveh, destroyed in 612 BC during the fall of the Assyrian Empire. The Nalanda University Library in India burned in 1193 by invaders. Accounts state it burned for months. Goodness gracious. The Library of Congress, a fire on December 24th, 1851, destroyed 2/3 of the books, including 4,000 of Thomas Jefferson's books. I'm pretty sure, I bet they did. I bet they did burn Thomas Jefferson's books. We won't see all the Freemason stuff he had going on. Polish libraries, World War II. During the war, several Polish libraries were burned, including the National Library in Warsaw. 700,000 volumes lost. And the Central Military Library, 200,000 books. Goodness, goodness, goodness. Academy of Sciences Library in Leningrad. A 1988 fire destroyed 400,000 books and damaged millions more. And then you had the Los Angeles Library in 1986 by arson fire. Now, again, I get it, right? Because obviously it's paper, it's easy to burn, but how would the fire start? How did the fire start if they're not doing it on purpose? I think anybody would know not to have fire in the library, right? I guess. I wonder what knowledge was lost in all those fires. I know, right? I think we'd be living in a totally different world today. I think totally different world. Many heroes in history books are actually bad guys. I think I agree with that. You know, just getting older, like I said, and learning about different people. You remember how, just again, all the Ben Franklins and again, Thomas Jeffersons and all these people. I'm like, man, they told us about all their inventions and all these great people, but then you didn't tell us that they were in the Hellfire Club and they did some of the most egregious things and they would do all their satanic worship in these caves. And, they obviously they wouldn't talk about that, but they had us. I never really cared that much, but they had us praising these people. Yeah, it's called the reset. Yeah. And, they're coming out and resetting the most simplest of things just to make people lose their minds. This is so off base, but I saw today how this guy was going off because y'all know Usher. Most of y'all probably do, but his line in Nice and Slow, where he says, it's 7:00 on the dot. I'm in my drop top cruising the streets. They have a clip of Usher saying, who's in the streets? And so the guy, again, is going off about the Mandela effect. And, and again, it's something simple. It doesn't have anything to do with the world. But my point is that they are doing it with the simplest things, just like they did with the Bernstein Bears and, Fruit of the Loom, and just to make people go crazy. And then you start to really question yourself on almost everything. If I got this little thing wrong, what else could I possibly have wrong? History is written by victors. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. The mounds in North America, Louisiana, Alabama, and Central America mounds outdate the pyramids of Gaza, etc. Oh, okay. The mounds in North America. You said the pyramids are made of stucco. They fake also. Wait, are you talking about in those places? Because the pyramids that we've seen in Gaza and all that, those have been lasting for a long time. For them to be stucco, that's crazy. He said, I've spent a lot of time in some of the most remote places and thickest woods as a hunter. I had one experience that has stuck with me my entire life. I can't explain it to this day. Well, what happened? See, I don't go out in the woods. I've been out a couple times. And I was so scared that I was going to be bitten by a snake in the dark that I just ran to safety. I'll just say that I ran. I'm gonna watch tomorrow. Okay. Oh, it's okay. No worries. Well, hopefully next time we'll see you. Try searching list of library burned down over fire. It's a wiki list that should pop up. I would post the link if I could on the list. It lists the year, the library, and the damage. Okay. Yeah. We'll never know what was in that stuff. I mean, in those libraries. All fires are to hide the originated people and things of those areas. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just really unsettling to know all of that history is gone and we'll never know what's there. Yeah, we'll never know what's there. Facts, the bad guys are usually the ones that are good guys, somewhat like Gaddafi. Yeah, they definitely switch places. They tell us that the good guys were bad and the bad guys were good. And then when you start digging in and you're like, oh, they tried to stop this or they tried to stop that, or they were trying to be the heroes and let the people know what was going on. And next thing you know, they came up missing. I never much cared to learn history in school because I know much of it was fabricated. I really can't say what I believed and what I didn't as far as history was concerned. I've told y'all 1,000 times as far as science, I never believed in evolution and stuff. I just, I did what I needed to do to pass. But as far as history, yeah, I can't really think of too much. Maybe the whole George Washington never told a lie, chopping down the cherry tree or all that foolishness. I really, that's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, they didn't really dive into too much until I got into college. Then that's when they started giving us a little bit more history. And even then it wasn't as much. It was kind of like the same stories that we've always heard about. The War of 1812 and this and that. It's like, okay, we've been hearing about the same stuff for years. Yeah. It's like they told us what they wanted us to know. They were very meticulous about what they taught us. And which was crazy because we talked about Gilgamesh at the very beginning, and that was one of the books that I had to read. I had to read the Epic of Gilgamesh. I told y'all that I've had to read almost everybody's holy, quote unquote, holy books, holy scriptures in school. Not the Bible. I never had to read the Bible in school, but everybody else's stuff, the Bhagavad Gita and all that, I had to read that, write papers on it. Skippy peanut butter. I don't remember what happened with Skippy peanut butter. I know Jif was one of the big things, but is Skippy still around, matter of fact? Oh, you said in today's Egypt? Oh, okay. No one can convince me Chick-fil-A wasn't a Chick-fil-A. Yeah, I remember passing billboards as a kid with advertisements with the cows, with signs with it, and signs like "Eat more chicken." Yeah, with words misspelled. Yep, for sure. But I mean, I don't know what the real point of it is, but I really just think it's to make us go crazy. Okay, you said I was in some of the most remote woods in Cali. I came across about 8.5 foot trees that were uprooted, stuck in the ground, upside down, completely vertical inside a tree that was about 4 feet around. It was about 7 and 5 inches deep, marks that were clearly claw marks. Okay, what? I don't, for some strange reason, that sounds familiar. I don't know if it was something that I heard about when I was younger or what, but that is strange. And the crazy thing about it is they actually have, you said that happened in Cali. There's a lot of, I mean, there's other places that supposedly happened in as well. I don't know why that just sounds familiar. Yeah, I mean, did you stay there long? I would have got up out of there. I would have had to go. I hunted bear, elk, deer, coyotes, wolves, gator, basically everything that runs, crawls, or flies. There is no animal on the planet that could leave marks that deep into a tree like that. Ugh. That is crazy. And I couldn't make sense of how the trees got like that. Yeah, like that's weird. I have questions, but I don't know what they are. I don't know what they are. I'll have to come back to that. 8 30-foot trees. Okay. Okay, my bad. Yeah, and what would be able to pick up a tree that big and that tall and turn it around? And what would be the point? I guess they have a story in like Alaska, but they're saying that it might have happened because of a landslide. I don't know if they're saying that it was turned upside down though. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Shoot, I hope that's what it was. I hope that's all it was a landslide. I'll be honest, I never knew how bad landslides were until I saw a documentary on it because I was like, oh, a landslide, that ain't nothing. Until I actually saw people having to run down the street from the landslide, and it was everything in its path, the houses, the cars, everything was gone. It was coming down this hill. It was actually pretty scary to watch. The trees are called sequoia trees. Now, when you say that the trees are called sequoia trees, is this something that happens with the sequoia trees? Like it's a normal thing, or I don't know what you mean. They were cloning people since 1885. Embryo twinning, look it up. Let's see. Embryo tree. Now, okay, hold on. They've actually got an article on the PubMed. Let's see what they say. Okay, so let me share this real quick so you can see what I'm reading. Okay, so it says in biology, cloning includes the reproduction of organisms without sexual intercourse. As a result, unlike sexual reproduction, progenies are not only collections of the characteristics of their parents, but also the homological copies originating from the primary organism. In other words, cloning means biological materials such as a gene, a cell, or even an organism for producing genetically identical copies. Okay. Embryo splitting is the in vitro stimulation of the natural process of producing identical twins with artificial SCNT. For the first time, Salter and McGrath developed nuclear transfer technology in mammalian embryo. In their studies, a nucleus from a fertilized ovule was merged into another fertilized and nuclearized ovule. Next, the novel, that might say novel, sorry, y'all. 2 nuclear cell was transferred into the uterus of a female mouse. Okay, so if I'm not mistaken, this is exactly what they are showing with how they do the cloning now. Now, as far as them having it since 1885, I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, you can see this in my cloning videos. They've had this. So in the movie, The Boys from Brazil. And if I'm not mistaken, because I'm pretty sure it's copyrighted, the video. But they show the whole process in the movie The Boys from Brazil. So they pretty much take a nucleus, extract all of the DNA out of it, and then they take the nucleus from whatever they want, to clone, and they insert that into the old nucleus, and then they insert it into the animal, and voila. And in this movie, they actually were cloning Hitler. But cloning has definitely been around for a long time. They've definitely been doing it with humans. They've been doing it with animals. I just think the more freakier experiments are the chimeric experiments where they're mixing human DNA. I hate to use the word human, but just for the sake of conversation, human and non-human DNA. And if y'all know, I don't like human because I don't believe that we're apes. That's why I usually use mankind, womankind. But again, just to make it a little easier for conversation tonight. I don't believe in Bigfoot, but it still eats me up. I have no idea what could have torn trees out of the earth like that and staged them like that. And then the deep scratches. Yeah. I don't know. Don't know either. That's the name of them. I just know that those are the big trees he's describing. Oh, okay. Trust me, no landslide could orient a tree upside down like that. I would have seen clear signs of that. I talked to a 76-year-old hunter in Wyoming. He explained everything similar there. Yeah, I don't know. Again, this is them, I guess, just trying to write off what happened or what they see. Said yes, the Cabbage Patch Kid clones and the Orphan Train were clones. Yeah, I keep meaning to do a video on that. I'm gonna get to it eventually, but it's some wild stuff. And I think that goes hand in hand with the surrogacy farms as well. So yeah, we'll definitely get to that. There's an Englishman that said that Caucasian race is 90% clones. Dang. Why? Why? Let me see something. Caucasian. Like, why would... What's the reason? I guess is my question. What is the reason? Oh, they're probably not gonna let me pull that up. They're probably like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I'll have to look that up. Is it because they're trying to stop them from becoming extinct? And the only reason why I'm asking that is because I'm looking at an article that says the US white majority will soon disappear forever. It says by 2050, the US will be a majority minority country with white non-Hispanics making up less than half of the total population. Excuse me. Yeah, I need some more insight into that. I don't know. We have had tech to clone for a while. I have seen some stuff where they say the early clones became violent and would snap and delete people. I wonder if clones have souls. I don't see how they could have souls. Yeah, I don't see how they could have souls. But yeah, I heard that that's why they have to have handlers. Is because, yeah, they would snap and bite you or whatever. Well, could they have souls? I don't know. I guess I need to think about that science a little bit. You can clone your dog for $50,000. A famous lady in Hollywood did so, and it got a lot of attention. Yeah, so did Tom Brady. I think I did a little short on that. He definitely cloned his dog. They have companies that you can go, because I think they started with the company started with horses. They had like equine, however you pronounce that word, cloning centers, and then they started doing it for people's pets. And I remember Tom Brady being a spokesman for it. They've got a lot. There's a Viagen Pets, and I think that's where he took his. Let me show y'all, just in case you didn't see that short. Theogen. Pets and This is some sick stuff, to be honest to me. Like, I get it, right? You love these pets and stuff, but it just gets to be too much. And this is right out in the open. Horse cloning takes the guesswork out of breeding, protecting elite equine genetics. We are proud to have produced well over 1,000 healthy, successfully cloned fowls, ranging from Olympic champions to polo sport horses to barrel racing champions. Our clone fowls have delighted owners around the world. Work with us to chase your dreams of reproducing the elite genotype. Cloning is a precise breeding method designed to reproduce a genetic twin to expand the impact of an individual as a competitor, a breeder, or a beloved member of your equine herd. That's cheating. Is it not? Is this not cheating? You can order your cloning kit. What you mean? So you could do it at the house? Recreating greatness step by step. Oh my goodness. Okay, so again, I don't know if I did a long version of this. If I did, it's probably on Patreon. But work with your veterinarian to acquire a tissue sample from the horse. Once the sample is received, we grow the cells within our safe and secure facility. Step 3, we transfer the DNA into a donor egg to take place of the nucleus. See, that's what I'm talking about. Embryo development. Once fertilized, the egg becomes an embryo. The embryo will be transferred to the mare. The mare continues the fowl through delivery. Oh my goodness, this is so sickening. Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I looked up the amount. Look, you can do dogs and cats. So there's dogs and cats that are walking around that are not even real dogs and cats. Or are they? What is this about? I don't know. I don't know if they have souls. I don't know if these things are considered real. I thought at one point they showed how much this stuff was. But maybe not. Maybe not. How long does it take? Yes, good question. So your Viagen counselor will be able to provide you with feedback regarding your genetic preservation process in less than 4 weeks from the submission of your sample. GP cell growth timelines can vary, but Viagen will keep you informed along the way. The cloning process requires the same gestation, 60 to 65 days, and nursing process, 56 days, as with any pet breeding technique. Oh my gosh. That's a couple months. They can breed these animals in a couple months. Okay, y'all done took me. Okay, y'all got me back on this breeding stuff. Oh my goodness. If your dog dies, you have to freeze you gotta freeze his DNA real quick. This is crazy. Okay, let me get off this. I went back to the page and let me get off. This is crazy. The experience was from a time before GPS, the internet, and cell phones. I went back over the years to try to find the area. I have backpedaled in like 15 plus miles when I saw that I haven't been able to. Oh, you haven't been able to forget it. Yeah, I guess not. See, it always got me thinking, sure, they don't get here the natural way, but they still fertilize eggs at the end of the day. Yeah, and that's the only thing that has me hung up, because yeah, they are using real DNA. I don't know. It's just so hard to, I don't know. The reason would be able to take over cities, countries as they already have. Yeah. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, but you would have to make sure that they are of the same mind as well, in order to bring your agendas about. They can't be able to do their own thing, pretty much. I'm not sure. Are you playing? Who are you? Let's start there. Who are you? This is why they cannot reproduce. Clones can't reproduce. Yeah. Well, the first time you see me, well, welcome. How about that? Welcome to my channel. 50,000. I'd get a new dog for $50. Yeah, you could definitely do that. I know dogs are expensive. I know people put them on, on layaway and stuff. You said no clones don't have souls, as also in vitro. Okay, so, well, in vitro is isn't in vitro a little, well, maybe they are the same, but I think you have a soul with in vitro, right? Because you're literally just taking sperm and egg, but just outside of the body at first, and then putting it into the body. So I think they would be real people. I'll say this. I mean, and this is no shade to anybody who's in vitro, but I met an in vitro baby, and they're real. They're definitely real. Have personalities and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I don't know. Bad souls or placed spirits. You said a soul would be a good vessel for a disembodied spirit. Yeah. I hope they're not doing that. Honestly, I hope they're not doing that. That lady that used to promote cloning is on the list of the disappeared too. Whoa, who? I don't know if you remember her. She advertised the famous sheep that was cloned. She secured funding and was out of the UK. Are you talking about I don't know about the person that secured cloning for the sheep, but there was a lady, I can't remember her name right at this second. Like I said, you have to watch that video, but she was talking about being able to clone the first human and how, she was successful at it. And I want to say she was of that religion that is kind of like a reptilian religion where they, I'm sorry, I'm going blank on what their religion is called. Hold on, let me see if I can. Anyways, it's a weird religion. I wonder if we're talking about the same person. But yeah, she was like, you're not going to stop me, pretty much. You're not going to stop me from cloning these babies. We're going to clone them. We're going to be successful at it. And then she came out like later on and said that we've already cloned it and that she was going to keep the family anonymous. She wasn't going to say who was cloned. But I believe she was from the UK. I wonder if we're talking about the same person. There was a famous boxer that was genetically engineered. Whoa, his muscle tone was 15 times the normal human. Remember, boxers broke bones just punching him. He was undefeated. No, I don't remember that. I gotta look that up. Genetically engineered. That's crazy. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to compete, right? You shouldn't be allowed to be able to do that. They were breaking bones. Oh no, that's not it. This was a long time ago. Yeah, I don't remember that. I'll have to look that up. Hello, Tom Brady cloned his dog. Yeah, I said that. Yep, that's what I said, Tom. But Tom Brady's a weird one anyway. And so honestly, I can see him doing something like that. That's a weird dude. That's a weird guy. You said you didn't know it. Yeah, he sure did. I think they had him on the commercial, if I'm not mistaken. You said after this live, I don't trust any other humans. I know, right? We're going to be looking around. I really don't know anybody who would be into that kind of stuff. But you really just never know. You really just never know how to tell. Hold on. How someone is a clone. Okay, I want to see what they say. How to spot someone is a clone. Okay, y'all. So they say clones lack a navel. Human beings are birthed. Obviously, clones are made. When a baby is conceived and in the mother's womb, that child is surrounded by darkness and fluid, a fluid which protects and enriches the child. Okay, so we already know that kind of stuff. Okay, so they don't have a navel. Clones malfunction. Clones are far from perfect. And I think we've seen this. We've literally seen a couple people. Al Roker, they have videos of him malfunctioning. What's that dude? I'm not going to be able to think of his name because I don't know him like that, but he is a sports caster. And they have a video of him. He's up in like the skybox or whatever. And the person that's doing the makeup is like doing the makeup on the clone, but he's perfectly still. Yeah, there's a few people that we've kind of seen. I think we've seen Cardi B malfunction a little bit. Yeah, clones are far from perfect. They have glitches as though they are mechanical and electrical beings. Clones will sometimes freeze up. Okay, that's what I was talking about. You can notice it in many high-level personalities when they are on interviews and simply doing their jobs. Yep, definitely seen that. There is always a +1. Clones have no clue they're clones. They just exist and are pre-programmed for them to do. Oh, they're doing work that they are pre-programmed to do. So it's pretty much telling us that their handler has to always be nearby. And we talked about that earlier because they'll bite you, they'll kick you, they'll say things they ain't got no business saying. And so their handler is usually like their husband, the wife, boss, director, or close friend. The handler, okay, so when the clone goes into one of the short comas, the handler then presses a small remote, which triggers an electrical pulse by a device they now place in the back of the brain on all clones. My goodness. This gives a quick jolt of electricity and shocks the brain, waking it back up to properly perform. Oh my goodness. Their life is staged. And say if you do a background check, you'll realize that many clones are from people who have passed away long years ago. Okay. They have no recollection of a certain age period. And that's pretty much all they're saying for those. I think most of that stuff we kind of know already because we've seen it. We've seen their handlers. Anyway, Tom Brady cloned his dog in November 2025 because he's a weirdo. I don't know. Every time I think of Tom Brady, I just get the ick. Ugh, just nasty, nasty. I think you're talking about the black-haired lady. Yeah. Oh, okay. The lady you're speaking about is blonde. Yeah, I definitely talk about the black-haired lady. Have you heard about hospitals organ harvesting? Yeah, I have. Not good. And they especially do it to Black people. Yeah, I've heard about it a lot. I mean, you can just go in for a simple routine, and then you realize months later that you're not able to process certain foods or whatever, and you go back to the doctor and realize one of your kidneys is gone. Not to mention that donors are at risk, which I didn't know when I was younger. I did not know that, I didn't know about all the evil that was going on in the world when I was younger, but organs are very, very lucrative on the black market. So whether it's your kidneys or I don't know whatever else they sell, to be honest, because that's just a weird thing, but they'll take it from you. They'll let you die so that they can take it from you. I heard about one lady went in. I think she ended up dying, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know what was going on with her, but she ended up dying. And when they did the autopsy, they realized that she didn't have no organs. They had taken all of them. So yeah, they say that the hospital I think it's become I don't know if it's always been that way, but very dangerous place. Very dangerous place. Because these doctors, they get paid for certain procedures. They get, they're not getting paid for keeping you healthy. They get paid by procedure. And a lot of this trafficking is for that reason as well. Sorry, I'm trying to look up an article real quick so I can shoot. And there's a lifenews.com. Hospitals caught harvesting organs from living patients. Following the results of a harrowing investigation, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services announced July 20th and mind you, this article was written last year, that it has begun a comprehensive reform aimed at ending the practice of procuring organs while donors still show signs of life. But that's the problem. If you die already, your organs, they become of no use. So that's why they try to get it while you're still alive. Investigation ordered by the HHS has found that federally funded organ procurement organization OPO was related to a concerning pattern, namely that hospitals allowed the organ procurement process to begin when patients showed signs of life. The OPO under investigation is federally funded organization that serves the state of Kentucky, as well as parts of Ohio and West Virginia. Okay, yada yada. Sorry, I'm trying to see something real quick. At least 28 patients may not have been deceased at the time of organ procurement. So yeah, so that's definitely an issue. But I also heard that a lot of the trafficking, so from what I understand, a lot of the trafficking is for the elite. Like they will take your organs and keep them on standby so that as these elite get older, these Illuminati members or whatever get older, they can just, swap out their organs. This is crazy. Okay, wait. So there's a man trafficked for his kidney and now forced to go into hiding. What is that about? Okay, I might have to do a little but yeah, I've heard of it. I don't to answer your question. Because I was about to go down a whole that would have took me somewhere else right now. So no one knows what they used to make that child. Yeah, true. You said he was breaking people's faces. It was like the 70s or 80s. In other words, clones are robots. Yeah, I mean, yeah, without the metal for sure. Yep. The first clone was named Eve in 2002. I was stationed in Virginia when I heard this. Google it. I want to say I have heard about that. Let's see. Yeah, I feel like we're talking about the same. Yeah, Clonade. Yep. Okay, yeah, boom. Okay, so they actually got the lady that I was talking about on the first page. Let me show y'all. So this lady over here, this lady right here, boom. This is the one I was talking about. Raelian leader. I couldn't think of it. I was like reptilian. Raelian leader says cloning is the first step to immortality. Her name is Bridget Bosselier. She was, or she is, the scientific director at Clonaid. And she is gung-ho about this stuff, y'all. She is not. So former French journalist Claude Bourlon, who now calls himself Rael, claims to be the direct descendant of extraterrestrials who created human life on Earth through genetic engineering. A company founded by his followers announced Friday that the first human clone has been born, a 7-pound baby girl dubbed Eve. The announcement was met with skepticism since other cloned mammals have had serious birth defects or developed health problems later. But they said that he has dismissed the concerns and that he has no doubt that she's healthy. And so now they're going to be aiming to clone adults. So yeah, that's the chick I was talking about. That was definitely her. And the first time that I had even heard about Clonaid, which I didn't even know I had heard about Clonaid until I started doing the research on it, was from Vlad. He had interviewed those. They look like twins, but I guess they're clones of each other. They're each other's clone. And they had their whole ID number and everything like that. And they said that they had been, from Clonaid. Let me see if I can find. I'm not going to be able to play Vlad's video. I can tell y'all that right now. Clonaid. But I just want to at least show you who they are so that you can look it up. Okay, so rapper Kid Buu. He claimed to be a second-generation clone created in Canada. He cited his model number and everything. Yep. Is that the only picture that y'all have of him? Okay, so whenever y'all get a chance, check out his interview on Vlad. I can't play it because he is a copywriting. He don't like it. He don't like it. Okay, so but this is the guy right here. Now, I don't know what has happened to this guy. I don't know so when he sat down and he was talking about it, everybody thought it was fake. And then he pulled out his ID card. He gave him his model number and all that kind of stuff. He said, y'all be talking the cloning being fake. Thought I was lying about being cloned, he says. He then motions for someone to come into view. A person who looks like the rapper sat down on the couch next to him and removed his hoodie to reveal a chest full of tattoos similar to Boo's. He said, what y'all got to say now? We got the same tattoos, same hair, same genetic structure. Look at my clone. And then when you go and like, okay, well, let's see if this Clonaid place is real, then you realize, oh, Clonaid ain't no joke. Nope, I don't need the Wikipedia article. I need the actual Clonaid. There it goes. Hold on. Let me show y'all their website. Okay, it's on the screen. This is a real place, y'all. This is their website. Clonaid is the world's leading provider of reproductive human cloning services. Eve, the first cloned baby, was born December 26, 2002, thanks to our team of highly skilled scientists. Since then, we've been able to help a number of patients have their own children through our cloning technology. They said we can help you if you're sterile and have lost hope of having a child you dream of, if you're homosexual and deeply desire a child who can carry your own genes, if you just lost or about to lose a beloved family member and would like to see an identical twin of that person begin a new life, if you're HIV positive and want a child that would be your genetic twin without affecting either the baby or your partner via the virus, if you simply want to be cloned, whatever your reasons may be. Whatever your reasons may be, y'all. This is crazy. And so again, they go through the steps just like the horses and stuff. Our medical team will evaluate your case. And then if you're approved, over the next several weeks, the donor cells will be optimized for nuclear transfer. We then retrieve eggs from either the patient or an egg donor and proceed with a nuclear transfer using the donor cells taken earlier. After several days, the clone embryo will be implanted in the patient's womb or that of the surrogate mother. The patient will carry the fetus to term through a normal 9-month pregnancy. And then step number 8, the baby and genetic twin or clone or the other cell donor will be delivered and a new human life of that desired child will begin. My goodness. My goodness, y'all. Oh, so they had been pursued. Okay, so they were in the United States, it looks like, and then the United States government came to their facilities and they decided to move to a different country. Because if y'all recall, for those of you guys who are familiar with this, Bill Clinton, of all people, did a press conference saying that they had to stop human cloning. And so, I mean, I guess they can do it, but nobody else can, I guess. They have a video of Shaq froze on TV. I bet they do. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy Shaq and his generosity for people, but he has admitted to being a Freemason. You know, so I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if they clone a big old guy like Shaq. MK Ultra is definitely real. It is definitely real. You said, wow, I love this. Yep. Your top entertainers have handlers. Yep. Joe Biden definitely did. Joe Biden wasn't even, I mean, if that man is even still alive, I hate to say it, but if he's even still alive, he was definitely a clone. Or he was somebody in a face mask, because he looked like two totally different Joe Bidens by the time they got finished with him. Let me see if I can pull up. And a lot of these people do, right? A lot of these people look totally different. Oh, they're not going to show me a good picture right now. Yeah, they're only showing me like young and old Biden. We don't need that. Draymond Green. Yes. He is definitely one that has glitched. He got stuck live on TV. Yep. Thank you so much for that. Because he's definitely one. Tom Brady admitted his ex-wife was a witch. Yeah, he did. And was proud of it. Tom Brady is just a weird guy. Like, I really don't know what it is with him slobbing his son in the mouth. Like, the way that he kisses his son just really it just is nasty. He be slobbing him down like he's a female. And I don't like it. But yeah, they were all happy about that. Oh yeah, she does these rituals. She lets me know who's gonna win. Yeah, I saw that mess. You said that sounds like the movie Companion. I've never heard of that movie. The movie Companion. Oh, that looks scary. What is this? Oh, ugh. I mean, it's going to come to that. You know that it is. Because people are already like falling in love with AI. And when I say falling in love, I mean romantically falling in love with AI, and they're losing their minds over it. So I wouldn't be surprised. Excuse me. Yes, as soon as you check that organ donor on your driver's license, you're as good as gone. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it is sad. You know, it's just sad. You're thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna do something to help somebody, and then you realize that yeah, you've definitely sealed your fate. The man has saved lives he escaped and called the FBI. Sorry, I'm a little late to this appointment, but yeah. Oh, he informed them that that's what they were doing. Well, I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Because that ain't right. Hospitals are supposed to wait 3 days, but they don't. They need them organs. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say. It is Remember David Rockefeller man that had 10 heart transplants. And see, that's way too much. That's way too much. There's got to be other people on the list that need it, you know, and he's had 10. I mean, don't get me wrong, right? If that was our loved ones, we probably would love for that, but that's just a lot. That's just a lot. I mean, like, goodness, we're that's a lot of transplants. I was gonna say something, but I lost it. Hopefully it'll come back to me. I think I had a point to make off the bat. Clonate was founded in 1997 in the Bahamas. Yeah, and they doing some wicked, wicked things, y'all. Wicked, wicked things. Remember the movie Splice? All I need is DNA to do the cloning. Ugh. You know, I never seen it. I think I used a clip of it for one of my videos, but I've never seen the whole thing. But it's just the same as always. They put the truth in plain sight. They do it, you know, whatever they're up to, they make sure that they let us know about it. Yeah, they let us know about it. Biden has been gone for a long time. I think Corn Pop got the best of him. I don't know what Corn Pop is, but yeah, Biden, I think so too. I think so too. And they use like the clumsiest clone that they could. Well, let's just say maybe it was a clone, and because he was supposed to be self-sufficient and stuff, they didn't let the handler come around that much. So he was falling all down the steps and falling in the grass, and he couldn't even remember which way to go to get back into the White House doors and all kinds of stuff. But that's what they say. If you're a clone, you lose your memory. You don't remember the stuff, but my goodness. You said, if you haven't seen his speech about Corn Pop, you have to. It's gold. Okay, I'll have to look it up. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. You said, I think they cloned Hillary too. Yeah, I thought she was gone a while ago, to be honest. But she's definitely looked different over the years. Yeah, she's definitely looked different over the years. To be honest, I don't think they've done it to Bill, though. I don't think they needed to do it with Bill. You know, a lot of times that they clone these people, and if they need to make sure that they are down with the agenda. but they didn't need to do it with Bill because Bill has been down with the get down since before he even became president. Even when he was governor of Arkansas, I can't even talk. Arkansas, he was pushing white. He was sex trafficking then. He's always been with the foolishness. He's always been with the foolishness. He was a Rhodes Scholar, which means that he was handpicked for this agenda. So they must have known even when he was young, like, oh, he's going to do us good. We're not going to have to bribe him. We're not going to do nothing. The Rockefellers needed him to stay alive to do their bidding. He looked like a skinwalker when he died recently. I believe it. They all look like skinwalkers, to be honest. They all look like it. And even when I hear about, Queen Elizabeth and what she was into, she looked like she eats people. She looks like she would bite you. I mean, I believed it from the jump. I was like, oh, you don't have to tell me twice. She's definitely biting on people. Disgusting. I bet it's all different characters playing these people under the skin suits. Yeah. I mean, I heard that that's what they were doing, but I mean, you never know because, again, these skin masks are so good. They can do these makeup, the makeup so good. Oh, man. These people are good at what they do. I'll say that. Same with Trump. I knew in the 90s, Trump was being built up to be a president. If you go back and watch some of his interviews, you can see the prep. Oh, okay. I mean, that's amazing. That's amazing. Add a Claudia challenge. Oh, yeah. Dave Chappelle. Yeah, even his family, like I think his cousin, I think they used to be really close until he went to Africa. And then he said he never heard from him again. And there's a guy, I want to say his name is Jim Brewer. Are y'all seeing him? He played in Half Baked with Dave Chappelle. And I believe he's a comedian, but now he has a podcast and he's been talking a lot. And he believes that Dave Chappelle is a clone. Yeah, this Jim Brewer has been he's been spilling a lot of stuff. I'll say that. Yeah, he's not playing around right now. If you ever get a chance to watch any of his, matter of fact, the last thing that I watched of him, he was talking about Chris Farley. He was talking about Chris Farley. If y'all remember Chris Farley, big guy. And when I mean big, yes, big in movies and in comedy, but he was also a heavy set man. But they were saying he was like the nicest guy. He would come in, speak to everybody, even the janitors and the cameraman and all that kind of stuff. But he started spiraling out of control because, of course, once you start having the money, then you can buy whatever you want to. And so he was, on drugs really heavy. And he said that one day, Chris Rock came in and it wasn't somewhere he was supposed to be. Like he wasn't on the show or whatever. And Jim had asked him, like, what are you here for? And he said, just in case. I might be paraphrasing, but just in case. So meaning I'm here in case Chris Farley does himself in, pretty much. And so they knew what was going on. They knew, they were watching him kill himself, and they were pretty much just waiting on it, but nobody was trying to stop it, if that makes sense. So he was saying that was one of the darkest moments that he's ever witnessed in Hollywood. And, you know, all the more reason I didn't give a doggone when Chris Rock got slapped. I really didn't, because you can just tell he's not a good person. Anyway, yes, Hillary, that Israel PM Trump Daddy Bush. Yes, Bill has used his brother-in-law to kill his political trail. The Clinton murders, yeah, they're just all the bodies that are around them. I'll just say that all the bodies that they've left behind. Queen Elizabeth is a reptilian, allegedly. Yeah, I think that even Princess Diana admitted that the family that she married into was. But yeah, she for sure is. I mean, from what I've heard, I haven't heard not one person say she's not. And I'm glad she's gone. There are a few people that really determine the whole order of the world. From what I have researched, there is like 16 top characters that really decide how power trickles down across the globe. They die like us, though. Yeah, they will. And Judgment Day is coming. So they still have to give account for every word, thought, deed. I mean, we all do, but you know, I just can't imagine the judgment that's in store for them. That you can live on this earth and just do all that evilness to people, and you know, but I'm going to make a video, because I know that one of the questions last week, we were talking about the Son of Man, or the sons of God, but the Bible also says that there are, you know, seeds of the serpent as well. So maybe I'll do a small little breakdown about what that means. But I've got a lot of writings in the work. I'm probably writing like 4 or 5 videos right now. So I do have a lot coming. I'll try to, because a lot of them are going to take some time. African spirituality is going to take some time, because that's going to be a really in-depth video for you guys. I think that so I'll try to give you, you know, little mini videos here and there, so that, you know, just keep you entertained. But yeah, I've got a lot coming, a lot of topics, ones that I've already told you about and some that I didn't. so stay tuned for that. The Clintons are responsible for a trail of bodies. They sure are. They sure are. I'm just surprised they're still around. He said, remember when that princess went missing for a while? What princess? What princess? And I'll make that the last little tangent, y'all. And we'll head out of here. But let me say my thank yous. Thank y'all. I'm so excited for you to be here. I thank you so much for joining me in these conversations, and giving me something to talk about. Liking and sharing my videos. I really appreciate that. I love all the comments. I really appreciate that. I'll try to keep them coming. And I thank y'all for your patience. Let me say that. I thank you for your patience. I put a lot of time into the research, and the videos do take a long time to put together. So I appreciate you guys, hanging with me, rocking with me for all this time. Always, as usual, if you do have any topics you want me to put together, comment so that I know, and I'll put them on my list. Daryl, I can't wait for African spirituality either. I can't wait for it either, because I think it's going to be really edifying. I think a lot of people are going to be mad, not you all, but I noticed that a lot of the videos that people will thumbs down, they don't really have that anymore on YouTube, but you can still kind of see the ratio of likes to thumbs down. But they do not like when I call out, the Black Boule, and these different gods and goddesses that are worshipped. They don't like that. So I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash, but I don't care. But it's definitely going to be edifying. I will say that. So I'm excited for it as well. My thoughts and theory is that they program us to see their agenda in order not to reap the punishment. They show us who and what they are. Well, they're going to be sadly mistaken if they think that's what it is, Yeah, they're definitely going to reap the punishment. And I can't wait. He says, you're welcome and thank you. I really do appreciate it. One of those ones in Europe was missing for months. It was all over the UK when she appeared in the photos one day after the public, asking a lot of questions. Oh, no, I hadn't seen that. I'll have to look into it. So you are very welcome. I really appreciate it, y'all. So I'm going to hang it up for tonight. I hope you guys have a really, really good week. I hope you've been staying prayed up. I hope you get what you're praying for. If it's in the Lord's will. And I will talk to y'all soon. Have a good night.